Welcome to Dualshock'd, the Brotherhood of Geeks PlayStation podcast. I am one of your hosts, Brett J. Rasmussen, and over here I got my other co-host.
Yeah, Spectre.
Yeah, happy Christmas, happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas, my friend, Merry Christmas.
Happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Oh, I'm all festive, dude. Like I got, of course, the good old PlayStation ugly sweater, cause yeah. So I got that. I'm all festive. I'm not wearing my Santa hat, cause it doesn't fit under this. So yeah, and I couldn't find it either. So there's that too.
There's that.
Yeah, very much so. But yeah, how you been doing?
I already told you what I want to get you for Christmas, right?
I don't think so. No, unless I forgot, which wouldn't surprise me if I did.
I'm getting you a duster for those shelves because you need to dust those shelves like crazy, man.
Oh wow.
It's true. I was watching your last unboxing video, like the last couple. I'm just like, oh my god, dude, I got to introduce you to like a duster or something.
Oh, dude.
It's just the nature. And trust me, my shelves get bad sometimes too. It's just the nature of when you're like you and me and you have like a whole bunch of crap on your shelves.
Mm-hmm.
It's just dust tends to accumulate and you just kind of forget about it after a while. But it's just that's what I'm gonna get for you. I got like this little duster thing, so that will make it make your up the quality and professionalism of your videos. So.
Well, yeah, of course, mind you, my eye doesn't catch that. I'm surprised that you can even see that on the screen.
I'm like a clean nut. I'm like Howard Hughes level of clean. Like, okay. I mean, just I drive my my girlfriend nuts about it. You know, just like I vacuum every day. I dust constantly. It's just I'm a neat freak when it comes to like my house and stuff. So, but I know you're not. But we will. I'll get you a duster. That's how much. How much it considered to me is I will actually buy you a duster.
Oh man, and I know what to get you. Just an Amazon gift card because you just buy everything from Amazon.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's really our only option.
I have my feelings.
We're already buying everything from Amazon. Soon I'll be working for Amazon. We'll be within an Amazon house. We'll be voting for our favorite Amazon president or something.
I want none of that. Not at all.
It's going to be like Aldous Huxley said, where it's going to be like that kind of like dictatorship with the appearance and veneer of democracy, and that'll be like you call that like the perfect like slave society. That's what we're moving towards. And yeah, Amazon will be at the head of all of it, I'm sure.
I want none of that. I want none of that bull at all. Like no, no. Oh man. Which by the way, when we started, I had my headphones plugged into my mic, but you were coming through my computer, so it may be a tad bit echoey in the beginning. I had to like switch it from my headphones from my mic to my computer or whatever, so that way it's not doing this echo. So hopefully you guys don't hear the echo or whatever. And I'm just
and I apologize. Normally I have I use my Corsair Void headset. That's what I usually use that. And usually it works really well, but for some reason the battery is like claiming it's dead, even though I was charging it. So
weird.
Who knows? But I will be getting my good microphone here soon, so
yeah.
Hopefully that won't be a long-term issue.
Yeah, very much so. But other than that, how you been doing, man?
Not too bad. Just obviously it's Christmas time, and
of course.
All the exciting stuff going on with that.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing. I've mostly been playing Ghosts. Just a ton of the Ghosts online. I think this is the Ghost of Tsushima Legends. I think this is the best time to play it, obviously, because this is with peak popularity. Mm-hmm. Everyone's playing it online, so we're doing a lot of that. And when I'm not doing that, I of course do World of Warship. Still, it's my go-to game between that and Hearthstone. And beyond that, I broke one of my rules. I started picking up some easy platinum trophy games again. I try to stay away from those, but I got a couple of those I picked up. They're all like $1 each. So I'm like, what the hell, you know?
Okay.
My next goal is I want to get to 200 platinums. That's my next goal. So I'm at 104 right now.
I mean, it is possible. You can do it by just getting all of the easy plats, because
I don't want it to be all easy plats, but I mean, sometimes you gotta like pump up them numbers. You know, it's like it's. I don't want it to be all easy plats though, you know. But we got to get you up to 100 plats, so you're still somewhere in the 60s, right?
Well, when I'm not doing literally everything else, I would love to just like have like just a whole week or two off doing absolutely nothing, and I can then just do that. Mind you, like, what am I playing? I'm playing through Cyberpunk 2077 because I'm working on my review for that.
I steered clear of that game.
Yeah. So I've been playing that, but outside of playing that, just to kind of just play something just for fun, for nothing. Like your game is World of Warships, that it's just like it's mind numbing, blah blah blah. For me, I've been playing Destiny 2. It just
Go tell us a story.
I didn't know that you wanted to tell me a story.
Oh, you should have told me. See, this is the problem. I told you there's going to be some feedback.
Nah, it's okay. It's okay.
I fixed it.
You good. So I've been playing Destiny 2, which is just a mind-numbing game. I've also been playing Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. Because that game has been ported over to the PS4. So I got my limited run collector's edition of both that and Jedi Outcast, and I've been playing that. I've been playing Jedi Academy because it's one of my favorite games from back on the PS2 original Xbox era. I love that game. God, it's so much fun.
I never got around to that at the time. I mean, is it worth checking out?
Yes. I honestly like it. Because Jedi Outcast is the sequel to Dark Forces, which was the PS1 game. It's weird. I don't like the naming because in order. It's Dark Forces, Jedi Outcast 2. Oh, I'm sorry, Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and then it's Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. So you would think that because it's Jedi Knight 2 and Jedi Knight, that it should be, so Outcast is a sequel to Academy, but it's not. Academy is after Outcast. Because it's about Kyle Katarn, Jedi Outcast is about Kyle Katarn. He finds out that he's a Jedi, and then how he kind of handles that. And then Jedi Academy is that Kyle Katarn is your mentor. He's like he's your master. He's the Obi-Wan to your Anakin, like that kind of thing. And you start off as a Jedi. You have all the first-person shooter elements from Jedi Outcast, but then you start with a lightsaber, so it's in third person. You get force powers. You can choose light or dark side force powers at either side, and then there are light side, dark side choices, and those choices at the very end will give you either the light side ending or the dark side ending, which is great.
Okay,
it's really fun.
I will have to check that out.
Yeah, it's great. But yeah, I think that is everything. So shall we go ahead and get started into our PlayStation conversation?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
All right, and then so this is our PlayStation conversation.
PlayStation.
So, I know that a lot of our episodes recently has been no news, but mind you, there has been a lot of news that has been happening throughout the past year and everything like that. But we've been kind of focusing on main topics and stuff like that, kind of to just give it a little bit more focus. And there's been a lot of things that have been happening. So this episode, it's the Christmas episode. We're near the end of the year. Pretty much have one more week before New Year's, before 2021. So what we're going to do in this episode is that we're going to go ahead and list off both me and Spectre's top 5 worst video games of 2020. So it's my personal 5 and Spectre's personal 5. So it makes 10. And then our best, so like our favorite games that came out in 2020. So I have 5 that I very much enjoyed, and Spectre has 5 that he very much enjoyed. And then at the very end, we're going to announce our nominees, the Brotherhood of Geeks nominees for Game of the Year. And then in the next episode, we will announce the Brotherhood of Geeks Game of the Year 2020. Sounds good? I think that sounds good.
Sounds good to me.
Great. So let's begin with the top 10 worst games of 2020. Now, again, these games are just personal choices for me and Spectre. I believe that there may be some games that we will disagree on. But Spectre, I'll let you go first. What is your first choice for worst game of 2020? And this is in no particular order either. I don't believe so. I could, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll start off with. There's sort of 2 categories here. I kind of did games that I thought were genuinely really bad. A couple of games are just genuinely really bad, and then there were a few that that I didn't have a whole lot of experience with, but they're sort of like almost honorable mention type of games. So. Okay. But I'll start off with one. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about it. It's just kind of disappointing that it turned out this way because it is a really great game. But Mafia 2, the re-release of Mafia 2.
Okay.
I don't know if you played Mafia 2 back in when did it come out? Like 2010?
PS3. It was on the PS3. Yeah. So it would be. Yeah, I think it was like 2010, 09, 2010. I think that sounds right.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a fantastic game. I had never played Mafia 1, the original game on PS2. I had never played that, so but it was a fantastic game. I really got into it. I finished the story. I did some of the DLC as well too. Just a really well done story. It felt like I don't know, it's just like a better version of GTA, like the Thinking Man's GTA. It had a kind of a just a more engaging plot to it. I liked the combat. I liked even little things like the collectibles. I think just looking for the collectibles in the game, like they were like pin-up girls and stuff like that. Just like little things like that, where it's kind of like these fun little touches they did to really make it like a period appropriate kind of game. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed Mafia 2. That was, if we were doing like a top 5 games of like 2010 or whatever, that would be on my list 100%. But yeah, and then this re-release though, unfortunately, is basically just a glorified texture pack. There's nothing that was really. It's not well done. It's sad. I wish they would have put in some more effort to it, and I don't know what the full story is behind it, like why it turned out to be this way. But it's just kind of sad that it turned out this way. So
I do know that because I was looking forward to getting like the Mafia trilogy, for the PS4, because you like Mafia 3 did come out on the PS4, kind of during the early years of the PS4, but then they announced that they're going to be taking Mafia 1 and porting it over to the PS4, and then also remastering the Mafia 2, which was on the PS3 to the PS4. And like Mafia 3 is really just a 60 FPS, like 4K kind of just like there's nothing really changed. Again, these are all remasters. The only game that really is this is a up and down, top to bottom remaster, not a remake like Final Fantasy VII, but like it's just more of a remaster. And I think because I feel like you're disappointed that they didn't do anything with it. They didn't like add anything to it. It's just it's Mafia 2, like as you said, Mafia 2, but with a shiny coat of paint on it. And you wanted more. It
pretty
like.
much, yeah. And we wanted more. We wanted it to be, if you're going to re-release the game, fine. But it's just a texture pack. It's not a very good texture pack. And I'm heard a lot more reports like there's more bugs in the game and stuff like that. It just was really kind of a bad, lazy port that they did. Just to go alongside of the Mafia 1 remake, which was much better from my understanding. Yeah. But it's just kind of sad. I mean, Mafia 2 it deserved better than this for being such a good game, and you would hope they would have a little bit more reverence for it. But it just didn't turn out that way. So sadly, it just probably another one to avoid.
Yeah, I get you there. I mean, I didn't play Mafia 2, so I don't really have much to say about it. But I have heard that like Mafia 2 doesn't really I've heard more people talk about Mafia 1 than Mafia 2 with the remaster, with this, PS4 version. And that's what I have heard. Like, Mafia 2 is just like, it's an okay remaster. It's just meh. If you like, it didn't do anything to change anything graphically or anything. It's more Mafia 2. So yeah. Speaking of which, let's talk about another remaster that definitely, absolutely fell flat on its face. My choice. My first pick to go along with what you said is 13 Remastered. So 13, XIII. Yeah, I did it 3. So 13, which was an old original Xbox game. I remember playing that when I was like it was back in like middle school. Like, it was years ago. And it was so cool. It was just like not James Bond the video game. Like, and it had a fantastic art style. It had the shell shading art style to it, so it very much had the feel that you were in a comic book. But the gameplay was so much fun and so good and everything like that. And then I heard that they were going to remaster that to the PS4. They were going to like remaster it and everything. I'm like, oh, this is going to be so fun. I love 13. The 13 was great and stuff. And nope. They very much took away the style of it. So instead of it having the shell shading that it used to have, it's now supposed to look more real, more lifelike, that's not the point. The whole thing is like with how it was done graphically, and the art design was that 2D shell shading comic book look of the game, and it didn't. It was just more of it was trying to do like what Mafia. It was just blah. It didn't look anything close. It looked like a totally different game. And then like the gameplay was just okay. And again, maybe it's with like rose tinted glasses, because like, this is like a 13 when it first came out. That's at least a decade, like 10 years old, if not more. Like, it's an old game, but it was great. And mind you, we've seen games get like remastered or remade that are old as hell. That like Shadow of Colossus was a PS2 game, which was like during that era. And then we had like the remaster by Bluepoint was amazing. And then you have like Final Fantasy VII Remake and Demon's Souls on the PS5, which are all fantastic. We just took these old games and then brought it to the new age. And I don't know. It's just it's a game that I'm very much disappointed in. Oh god.
Yeah, just sad.
Did you play 13 back in the day? Like, do you remember that game or not really?
No, I didn't really have any particular attachment to it. Yeah, I just never played it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think like because I believe it was my stepbrother who had 13. He had that for his original Xbox, and then the original Xbox was the family's original Xbox and stuff. So I played that game, and it was really fun. But God, this remaster, God, it's just a disappointment of what it was supposed to be. It's so disappointing. So yeah, Spectre, why don't you go to your next choice?
Okay. Yeah. I'll get the big one out of the way right away. With kind of the year's most disappointing game in a way. With Cyberpunk 2077, and I'll preface this by saying that I really, really wanted to love this game. I've been talking about this game for 8 years now, and I really, really wanted to like this game. I really did, and even as time progressed and we got more and more information about the game, and things kind of looked like they weren't so good. We got the gameplay reveal that didn't go so well. I was still like, well, let's wait and see how it does. maybe it'll turn out to be good. Let's see how it does. I kept on giving it the benefit of the doubt, and we got it finally after 8 years, after many delays.
Mm-hmm.
And I played. I got a couple hours in at least. Spent some time with it. Not a crazy amount of time by any means, and with good reason. I shelved the game, and I probably won't be picking the game back up again until it drops down to like a deep sale. So I returned the game. Got my money back for it, and I think that's probably the best thing that anybody that's picked it up early can do is return it and wait for a steep discount on it. It is just really a disaster. There's no other way to put it. I mean, it really was a disaster, and not just the technical part of it. I mean, I think people are missing the forest for the trees here with the technical side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, of course, a game. I mean, games are going to have bugs and stuff. And I understand. Yeah, Cyberpunk has a slew of them, a Bethesda level of bugs. I understand that, but even without that, even if we pretended for a moment that the bugs weren't there, that the game had launched in a great state, I still just don't think it's a good game. I don't think it's what we were promised. What we were promised was a deep RPG open world experience, and what we got was basically a bad copy of GTA with very little emphasis on role playing, things that we wanted, that we thought were going to be a cool part of the game just are completely irrelevant. The life choice, story element of it that has no real bearing on the game beyond the first 15 minutes or so. It's not what we were promised, and it's sad. Like I said, I really wanted to like this game, but I think really the best thing to do is to shelve the game, wait till it drops to like $20. Maybe at that point, then I'll pick it up on like PC or something where it runs the best, and and maybe give it another shake at that point. But from what I played of it, I mean, it just felt like a really bad version of Deus Ex mixed with Borderlands, and that's probably the best way I can describe the gameplay. Just a really janky, awkward, combat with bullet sponge enemies everywhere, mixed with I mean, literally every system. Like I know I talk of Deus Ex all the time, but really every element of that game was better than this. The hacking in Deus Ex was better. The story was more interesting. The graphics looked better, even for like even if you go with like Deus Ex III, like Human Revolution. That's a 9-year-old game now. It's almost a 10-year-old game.
Mm-hmm.
I think graphically it still holds up pretty well compared to Cyberpunk. I mean, it's just really sad how this turned out so bad. I don't think we can really. I think this comes back to CD Projekt Red. I don't think you can really blame anybody else. They had all the time in the world. They had a huge budget, and this is. And the sad thing is, they've produced games in the past that have been very successful. We know that they can do a great job, but this time around, it just did not happen for whatever reason. And I'm sure that you could probably do a whole documentary on what went wrong here, but it's just sad. And I think it's easily the biggest disappointment of 2020, and this has been a very unusual year with a lot of disappointing things happening. But I think it's easily, from a gaming perspective, it's probably the biggest disappointment of 2020.
Yeah, no, to kind of go everything. So I know that we've talked about this game in multiple past episodes of Dualshock'd, and so on. And I know that we've talked about the alpha reveal that I believe it was at E3 2019, or was it 2018? I know it was within the past year or so. And I know ever since you heard about it or whatever, you were like, nope, this is not what I wanted. This is not, for you, Spectre, this is not what you were expecting. For me, I was like, oh, this looks, I'm down. Let's go. Yes, this looks, I love this. This is awesome. And I think your expectations of the game, where it was going to be a Skyrim, not Skyrim, but it's I can make any character. It's that the character that you play in an RPG, there are two ways you play an RPG. You either play as a named character thrown into a story. Your character is going through the story, but you get to stat him out in any way you want. and your choices, you can make choices, but it's still within the confines of the character's behaviors or morals. Very much what they do with Witcher. But what you wanted is very much similar to like Skyrim, where you're like, I'm a dude, I don't have a name, or like I'm giving him a name, I'm choosing the race. All of my choices are my choices, not, within, there are no confines. It's that you're doing a hard RPG with that, and that wasn't the way it is. You're playing as V, who has his own story, and you're playing through V's story, even though you have. You can make.
No, that wasn't that. Well, I mean, partially yes, but it's a. I don't think you're quite capturing it. That's not the issue I had with the game. I mean, what you're describing. I mean, because I just described a game I really like that does something very similar to that with Deus Ex. Deus Ex, you play as a character as Adam Jensen for Deus Ex 3 and Mankind Divided. And even in the originals, you play as J.C. Denton. So you have a character that you play as, but they're kind of a blank slate, so you can role play with them.
Yeah, well, yeah, but the what you wanted is that you wanted, regardless, you wanted more of a blank slate for this character.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not my gripe with the game. My gripe with the game is not that you couldn't make a complete nobody character with no backstory or whatever. That's not my gripe of the game. Mm-hmm. My gripe of the game is that you really can't role play at all. It's the role playing choices really don't matter in the game, or they're just not interesting.
Mm-hmm. And I agree. I do agree with you on that. And
that's my complaint.
Okay.
I mean, in a role playing game, a true RPG, you're supposed to be able to make a character and define their stats to some degree, or change them, and they have a set, maybe they have a role essentially. Maybe they're really, and that plays out in a lot of different ways. Maybe they're they're really good at combat, and they have, but they have low charisma, or they're a smooth talker, but they don't, but they're not very strong, but also though they're actually really good with like a pistol or something like that. That's more of like a role playing game, almost like I mean, you should be familiar with this. You do Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So that's more of what I'm talking about. Okay. This is basically like a GTA style, like Borderlands type of thing, where you have a character that's pretty much set. There's not really any meaningful choices you can make, and the choices you do make don't really have any bearing on anything. Like, what difference does the life path choice, like the first thing you do in the game, what difference does that make really? What difference does the appearance of your character really make? And while we're on that, I mean, because you don't really see your character all that much. It was not the game that we were promised. This is coming from Cyberpunk was meant, the pen and paper Cyberpunk is more about, it's kind of that Dungeons and Dragons style where you can play a character and be a part of that world essentially, and that's not what we got. And it feels like it was a rush game, even though we know it wasn't really rushed, because it's they had 8 years plus of development on it. It's just sad that it turned out this way.
Look, I agree. Like, as I said, I'm playing through this for, I'm in the middle of reviewing it right now, so I guess to get a little bit of a preview of kind of how I'm feeling and what's going on. But like graphically, it's I don't know. And what sucks is that like the game was made to be on PS5, Series X, and PC. Because if you play this game on PC right now, you don't have any of the graphical problems that people on the PS4 and Xbox One are dealing with. And then if you play especially what's even worse, if you play on the it's even worse if you play on the original PS4 or a normal PS4 than a Pro. That's even worse. So there's that. The sale, pretty much the game has been delisted on the PlayStation Store, meaning if you bought the game digitally, it's like if you already bought the game digitally, you already got refunded your money for the game on the PS4, and you cannot buy it on the PS4. So the only way you can get this game is to physically buy it. There's all of that. even with all of the refunds, whether physically or digitally, the game sold 13 million copies, including all of the returns. So it still made tons on this game. And then, with everything, like they're right now going to be dealing with a lawsuit with CD Projekt Red is going to be dealing with a lawsuit because of like quote unquote false advertising. I have to look into more of that because that's a very new and developing story. But now they're dealing with a lawsuit because of the horrible launch of it. The stockholders of CD Projekt Red the investors of CD Projekt Red are not happy with what happened. Like, this whole game is a mess. It is a mess. Like I very much was excited for this game too, because like I was like, oh, the Cyberpunk style and whatever, and like again, you can go ahead and watch my my reactions to the Night City Wire, and I was very, very positive about this and what they were saying and everything like that. And I'm so mad and disappointed at this game. No, like I agree. Like combat is, it is rough. And like again, the story the story I will probably talk on in the review. But I'm just, regardless, like graphically, it's a mess. There's so many problems with this game. I couldn't believe that this happened. And honestly, the reason why it got pushed back from November to December was so that way they could make the game playable on the past gen. What's even worse is that if there is no PS5 or Series X version of this game, if you have a PS5 and you put take the PS4 disc into your PS5 with Cyberpunk 2077, you're playing the PS4 version. You're not playing the PS5. There is no PS5 version that you can freely upgrade to it. So that sucks. Because what happened is I went ahead and got the game. I threw it into my PS5, and I'm like, all right, I want to play it on here. And then I found out, like, oh no, you're playing the PS4 version. I'm like, oh, never mind. I'm going to play this on the PS4 so I can get the truest experience of what this would be. And it's bad. It's bad. It is. God, I'm so disappointed in this game. God, I thought this was going to be. We've talked about it, that this game was going to be part of Game of the Year talk. And because it came out in December, it would be for next year. Nope, no, it's not. It's not even going to be for 2021. Not at all. Oh my god, it's like... And CD Projekt Red killed their entire reputation off this game. CD Projekt Red was the one developer that everyone went, you're the guys. We know that you won't screw us. We know...
Oh yeah, that's the saddest part about it. I mean, they can fix bugs, they can fix the issues with the game, but it's just like the goodwill that's been lost of this. I don't know how you get that back.
I don't know. Because The Witcher 3 is one of the most popular games like ever made. Like, it's so like the Witcher franchise, the Netflix show, everything. And The Witcher 3 is such an amazing game. So good. I don't know what happened with this game. They should not. They should not have ported this to the PS4.
This funny shit going on in the background here.
I don't know what that was. That was the weirdest thing. But this game should not have been ported to the PS4. I would have been fine. I know that everyone's going like, you should have, like, where is the game? Release the game. Release the game. And I feel that it's a combination of pressure from, you said that it was coming out back in, like, what, 2013, 2014, or whatever. It was years ago that you announced that this game existed, to then saying, hey, it's coming out in 2020, or in 2019, because it actually got pushed back, and then it got pushed back to Q1 of 2020, and then it got pushed back even further into now, and I don't think they could have pushed it back any further. So, I mean, again, I personally would have been fine if CD Projekt Red, when they were trying to port it to the PS4, they were like, you know what? We can't. This game is bad. It doesn't work. It's graphically messed up. All these things. We need another year, or whatever it would be. I would have been fine. But there's a lot of other variables that come into delaying a game kind of like that. And I guess there was, I'll leave it with this. It's not a good thing when people are questioning your game after you state that your game went gold. Remember how we were talking about how CD Projekt Red announced that Cyberpunk went gold? And everyone was going like, but there's these things and we're hearing these reports and what's going on. Remember, you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
So I think there's a problem. Like, I think this is the first time I've ever heard of, like, people questioning a game when it goes gold. Like, I remember, like, it's more of like when a game goes gold, everyone goes, all right, it's done. Woo, we're going to be getting it soon. Like, that kind of stuff. But with this game, it was like, oh, really? Like, you're going gold? Like, and we didn't know that these were the problems. We didn't know that it was going to be this graphically messed up and everything with it. Story-wise, I don't know if I agree with you. I can see your points, but I don't know, like, with narratively, I agree completely. But I can understand and I can see your point with it narratively. But, again, I have to dig further and play more of that game. But I think we've talked enough time about that because I think that's the big one. Let's see. That was yours. My next pick, oh boy. I'm going to choose WWE 2K Battlegrounds. This is going to be really quick because this is no surprise. So I'll go a little bit into this because I love wrestling. If you guys haven't known, I love wrestling. I watch, I'm a huge fan of All Elite Wrestling, AEW on TNT. Along with, I do watch WWE along with Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and so on and so forth. So, give you a little bit of a history of what happened. Yuke's, who is a Japanese developer who has been developing wrestling games. So the SmackDown versus Raw games you remember back during the 09s and late 2000s, 2010s. The guys who did SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain. All of those like popular wrestling games that you may remember, Yuke's was the developer for them. And Yuke's did all the THQ games, so WWE 13, 14, so on and so forth. And then 2K came in once THQ went bankrupt and kind of disappeared. 2K came in and bought the rights of WWE. And Yuke's was the developer. For WWE 2K20, which was the game last year, that game was broken and a mess. And just didn't work. Pretty much in January 1st, 2020, WWE 2K20 didn't even play. Didn't even start. You couldn't play the game because the game didn't know, it didn't know that it was the year 2020. Like, it said, oh, this game doesn't exist now. Like, it literally didn't recognize itself. And what happens is that Yuke's left the development, left 2K because 2K kept telling Yuke's, put more microtransactions in. We wanted to be more lifelike, more real, while Yuke's wanted to be more arcade and more fun. 2K wanted it to be more of a simulator instead of more arcade-like. So Yuke's goes on and leaves. I will tell you where they go in a little bit. So 2K has to scramble for 6 months to make WWE 2K20, and it's a piece of crap game. That same developer then goes ahead and makes this game called WWE 2K Battlegrounds. It's just All-Stars. WWE All-Stars was a fun game. It was like, pretty much you choose a wrestler like Rey Mysterio or The Rock or whatever, and you're just doing crazy, like, flips and whatever. You can do crazy, stupid stuff that you cannot do in wrestling because it's not humanly possible. So it was very arcade-like. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is going to be WWE All-Stars, just redone. Nope. It's just a microtransaction mess of a game. The roster is very small when it first came out. Mind you, with DLC and paid DLC, there's more wrestlers they've added to the roster. But even for the women's division, for the women, you had much smaller pool. And if you wanted to choose, let's say for instance, I wanted to play as Becky Lynch online, and everyone else chose men, I can't play as Becky Lynch. I have to choose a men, or it's even the opposite, where if everyone, so that kind of stuff. Whatever. It's a mess of a game. It's boring. There's nothing fun about it. It's just another 2K money maker machine game, and it pisses me off. Now, I talked about Ukes and where they left. Hey, guess what? All Elite Wrestling has announced that they're making a console game, which I have been excited for. And the developer for that console game, whenever it comes out, is Ukes. And I am so excited because that game is going to be fun. There's a trailer for it and everything, and I saw it and I lost my mind. It's great. But 2K Battlegrounds can go ahead and suck it. It sucks. It's bad. All right, I got my rant out.
Okay.
I know I know you don't watch wrestling or care about wrestling, so this is very much like, eh.
Yeah, I don't know. I just something I was into when I was younger, but just don't.
Yep. So
see the appeal anymore.
But yeah, that game sucked. All right. What do you got for me next, Spectre?
Okay, so now we're kind of getting into the ones that there's sort of honorable mention worst games of the year. Actually, I had a hard time coming up with a full list just because it was actually for the most part a pretty decent year for gaming. So when I talk about these next sets of games here, keep that in mind. So it's sort of like an honorary, I guess you could say, worst game in a way. So I included
really it's more games that you're just like Spectre doesn't care for.
Exactly, yeah. And the first one on that list should be no surprise. Is Last of Us Part 2. Now, no, don't get me wrong. I won't go on a big rant here about.
Well, I think you and I have ranted about this game and argued about this game multiple times. So I will try to keep this short also. But go ahead, Spectre. Go ahead. This is your choice. Go ahead. You're wrong, but go ahead.
So it's a game that I know there's people that enjoy the game and the original game as well too. For perfectly honest, legitimate reasons. They enjoy it because they like the gameplay, they like the story, things like that. That's totally fine. But I feel like there is there's an element of especially the gaming critic culture, the organized critic, journalistic critical culture that praises games like this just on the merit of their social political message, and I feel that this game, is very much more so about pushing a narrative than it is about telling a deep, engaging story. I think that's basically this is what the developers themselves have stated. They wanted this game to be a progressive social game, social justice style game that was designed to essentially propagandize to people, and that's. First and foremost, I think that's what it is. And now, of course, you can still like the game, on its actual merits. Graphically, it does look really nice, from what I've seen of it. My experience with this game has mostly been watching streams and watching, extensive periods of gameplay on streams. Basically, I did not purchase this game myself. I tend to try to avoid, games that I know I'm not going to like. And I've talked about this game plenty before, but I had to put this one on my list of just games that I feel there's a lot of people that are kind of dishonest and they game because they feel they have to like it, and that's not a good thing. That doesn't really get us anywhere. That's just just to kind of signal and to virtue signal that you like a game. That doesn't really. I don't think that really pushes the medium forward really. So had to put that one on the list. I know it's a critical darling this year and it won the Game of the Year, of course, at the Game Awards, which I disagree with. I think the real Game of the Year, of course, was Ghost of Tsushima. But we'll get to that later. But yeah, so I had to include Last of Us on the list.
Again, I'll try to keep this short, but I completely disagree with you on that. And I get what you're saying with you know, the mainstream video game media, the you know, the big name IGN, Polygon, Kotaku, all of them, that's like their stuff. They're like everything. And I would agree if I believe that during the Game Awards they had the Player's Choice, which was a completely 100%. The audience got to vote for their pick for what is Game of the Year, and it was a close race between Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us Part 2. I would agree with you if that wasn't the case. If Last of Us Part 2 wasn't neck and neck between Ghost of Tsushima and itself, I would agree with you. But and again, I personally love this game. I thought it was amazing. It's not a perfect game, as some people have said. I do believe it has problems, but it is not the dumpster fire of a game that other people have said that it is, and it's not. It is completely not. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. So what kind of happened here is that we were talking about our next worst game of 2020, and what happened is that somehow Spectre or I kind of cut out, and we pretty much weren't able to really talk about this game, and we didn't really find out until after everything was done. But let me go ahead and talk about this game called Marvel's Avengers. Now, Marvel's Avengers is not a good game. It had all of the potential in the world, everything that could have happened to it, and they messed it up. Microtransactions, just a hack and slash or beat 'em up that means absolutely nothing, and just useless monetization. By the time that the game came out, after a month or two, the entire fan base just left it. It's so bad. It's so messed up. And God does it suck. Well, what's your next choice, Spectre?
Yeah, so I also included, of course, in this game we were just talking about this before we started too. I mean, don't get me wrong. When I mention this game, it's not that I hate it. I just think that it's so bland and generic and just and I'm talking about Spider-Man Miles Morales. We could call it a glorified expansion, essentially. Clearly, this is a game that was kind of meant to be something that's rushed out to be another launch title, for PS5. I think the sales on it, contrasting them to, the first, Spider-Man game on PS4, it just has not done well by contrast to that. And like I said, not a game that I personally picked up myself. It just looks so generic and boring and dull. And after my experience of Spider-Man, it's like, okay, so I didn't really enjoy Spider-Man. Now you're going to take away Spider-Man basically and put in this other sidekick character in his stead. And I could not care less about that. And obviously I think the general audience was not as enthused about it either. And this was not a PlayStation 5 exclusive. Anyone could have picked this up on a PlayStation 4 as well. But they really didn't, not in large numbers. So, I mean, it just, I mean, like I said, I come back with a sequel and maybe they'll interest us. But I don't think it'd be like if you made a game that was, instead of for the next Batman game, we made it exclusively about Robin. It's just like, yeah, I'm sure there's some some people out there that would be interested in that, but it's just like, why would I be interested in this second fiddle?
I would enjoy that if it's Tim Drake. That'd be great. Robin becoming Nightwing, that would be really fun. That would be really, really fun. You play and the Rocksteady, like that gameplay of Robin becoming Nightwing. Yes, I'm in. Let's go. Again, another game I completely disagree with you. This game was awesome. When I bought on PS5, this was the first game I played. oh, and it's so good, and the ending is great. The gameplay is just as good as Marvel Spider-Man, like the first one. Like, oh, it's great. Yes, it is. It's very much a continuation. It's like, because you can beat the main story in about 8 hours. About 8 hours. But there's a lot of side quests. There's a lot of other stuff involved. And like the Venom powers are great. I love using the Venom powers and the Venom lightning, and along with the invisibility that he has. Like, I love Miles Morales as a character. I'm a big comic book nerd, so like, yeah, this. I know for you it's different for you, Spectre, but like, I love this game. I loved it. I thought it was great. I disagree, but again, you're not into the superhero game, so of course I am not surprised, knowing you, that you're like, yeah, no. But I disagree with you on that. But again, that's why we have stated these are our personal choices. All right. Is there anything else you want to add to that, or no?
Not really. No, I mean, honestly, for these worst of ones, they're sort of honorable mentions. Really, I don't have like any kind of passionate rebuttal to them. They just did not look appealing to me at all, and I don't really think there's a need to play them or really get too much into them in a year when there are so many other great things that came out.
I agree. Next game that was bad. Well, this was more bland than anything. It wasn't like bad. It was just meh. Predator Hunting Grounds. I was very much looking forward to this game, and then it came out, and it was just not Evolve. You play as the Predator. You have one person play as the Predator, and you had, I believe it's like 3 or 4 other people play as army men, and it's the Predator versus the 3, and you have 3 or 4, and you have to like try to kill each other. You like, the 3 army men have to kill the Predator, and the Predator has to kill them, and the Predator is so overpowered, and it's so hard for the army men to kill the Predator. If you were the Predator in the game, you were pretty much going to win. Balancing was not good, and it's an online game entirely. There is no like single player story or anything. It's just you're playing matches over and over again. Like, it's man, it had a lot of potential. And it was made by the guys who did Friday the 13th, which is a fun game. And this one sucked. This one was boring. It didn't suck. It was more boring than anything. Because it wasn't bad. Like, the mechanics of the Predator is really fun, and the shooting and of the army men, and you kind of like your loadouts were good too. It had a good idea, but it was executed poorly. It was just a blah game. There was nothing more than the Predator versus the army men, and that's it. It was just a meh game, and sadly it's a PlayStation exclusive that just yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, that's a game that I was interested in. I enjoyed the movies very much. I should say the movie. So I it's a game I wanted to be good, but it's
your PS2 activated.
Yeah, I got my. Sorry, my girlfriend's always trying to find ways to interrupt me here. Let's see. But yeah, no. Not much else to really say about it.
No, I get you. And I believe we're on to last choices. So, what is your last choice?
My last choice would be Watch Dogs Legion.
Okay.
Now, this is a game that I have a little bit more to say about than the other two, because I started off originally liking Watch Dogs. I was actually a defender of Watch Dogs, the original, that is.
Mm-hmm.
Then it went in a pretty bland direction for the sequel, and then now it's gone into this full-bore kind of like Brexit politics direction that is just kind of goofy. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I mean, just extremely politicized. It's just once again, like I said, it's sad that this is kind of becoming like the status quo for games nowadays. It's just basically to turn it into a kind of a political screed. It's just kind of sad. I don't really have anything new or insightful to say about the game, but it's just when I saw that this is the direction that they were going in for it, I just became immediately not interested in it. I'm like, oh, because after Watch Dogs 2, I'm like, okay, well, maybe, you know, we'll see where they go from here, I guess. But now it's just like, you know, I have no desire to play this game. I'm kind of glad I got out of it.
Is it only because of the political or the politics that are
turn me off from the game itself? I mean, it's enough to turn me away from the game. You know, and from, you know, beyond that, yeah, I guess maybe that is the kind of the primary factor. Just like, why I'm just so sick of playing games that you know have it's like do I want to support people that have just active open contempt for me? Like I'm so sick of like, you know, of doing that. I mean, it's just you know, when I can avoid it, I'll avoid it.
I mean, Watch Dogs Legion, it has a really interesting like gameplay concept where you pretty much, instead of you're playing as a character, you're just DedSec. You're playing as other people who have different loadouts and characteristics and skills and everything, and you pretty much can choose who you want to play as, and you can recruit them into DedSec, which is a really interesting thing. But yeah, I mean, I haven't really heard I haven't really heard of anything like it's just I haven't really heard of anything good, but yet anything bad about this game. It kind of just like came out and then fell. Like it just kind of just came out and like, hey, Watch Dogs Legion is out, and that's about it. I need to spend the time to play that game because there's been a lot of other games that have come out during this time, even though I did do an unboxing for Watch Dogs Legion. But I plan on spending some time with this game, but I don't know. Ubisoft, more recently Ubisoft games I hasn't met the standards that the Ubisoft that I remember that made me go, oh, I love Assassin's Creed. Because again, I've talked about, you know, the more recent Assassin's Creed games going like, they're just, especially Odyssey. I was very disappointed with Odyssey when it came to its lore, when its story. It's a great fun game, but my last pick, this is pretty much the worst game that ever came out this year, is Fast and Furious Crossroads. That game is trash. That game is crap. Oh, it's a bad game. Mind you, it's like, what are you expecting? Because at least be a decent racing game. It's not even that. It's not a racing game, but it's not a Twisted Metal game. Like, it's not a, you know, Destruction Derby game. It's the story doesn't make sense. There's glitches and bugs and everything with it. Like, it's horrible. It's bad. Fast and Furious Crossroads sucks. It is. I can't even believe that, like, last year they went ahead and got Vin Diesel, like, you know, Jeff Keighley got Vin Diesel to come out and go, hey, yo, check out this game. And here it is. Like, I'm probably more looking forward to Arc 2 that Vin Diesel is in than whatever the hell this was. God, this game was bad. God, it sucked. It's a bunch of nothing. I've played, you know, movie tie-in games that are far more fun and less broken than that game. God, it was bad.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you saw Vin Diesel on the cover, I mean, you should have known from that. It was like, okay.
It was a movie tie-in, so that doesn't help because it's a video game based on the movie Fast and Furious franchise. Which, oh no, this is a movie tie-in. This game can't be good. And nope, it's absolute trash. All right, so those are our worst. Let's get into the fun stuff. This is what we wanted. This is why we're here. Let's talk about the best games of 2020. Again, these 10 games are my personal 5 and Spectre's personal 5. So I will begin since you began with the worst. So let's go ahead and start with, let me go ahead and grab the list. I'll go ahead and start with a more recent game, Demon's Souls on the PS5. That game is great. That Blue Point is a master at remastering games. They are the best at doing it. They are the best at remastering these games. Like, look at Shadow of Colossus. You can even go even further back, but Bluepoint are the masters at taking old games and remastering them for the current age.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Souls fan, so I really don't, I can't comment on it all that much. I mean, I will say that if I did have a PS5, like I said, I'm waiting on a PS5, I probably would pick it up just to check it out, but I'm just not a Souls fan. And Demon Souls in particular is one of the games that really turned me away from that genre, essentially. So,
I mean,
yeah, I'm glad people like it, but it doesn't look that bad. I mean, graphically it looks pretty good for, basically, remaking an older game now. But still, for me, like I said, just I can't really summon any interest in it.
I mean, like, look, I'm not a Souls guy either. Like, I'm not. But this was kind of my first experience by really like delving into like a Souls game, and God, is it fun! You're going to die. You're going to just get ruined, but it is so much fun. So much fun. All right, Spectre, why don't you take the next choice?
Okay, yeah. So kind of going through my list, I'm doing, like I said, this is my fifth choice then. So I chose Visage. That is now, to be fair, I played this game on PC. I didn't play it on PlayStation 4, but it was just fully released on PC and PlayStation 4 October 30th or 31st. So end of October this year. And this is a really quite well done survival horror game, kind of in the same vein. Now, it says its inspiration is from kind of games like PT and stuff like that. Kind of that haunted house style, exploration, first person exploration, survival horror type of game where you're going from basically a haunted house and interacting with objects and solving like puzzle solving and ghosts and things like that. It's very well done for what it is. It's very trippy. I tend to, in terms of genres of horror, I like the kind of supernatural, kind of psychological style horror.
Yeah.
Of course, my favorite game of all time, Silent Hill, kind of right in that same alley. This is not a Silent Hill game or even a game that's really close to it, but it sort of shares that kind of general genre or theme, I guess.
Yeah.
So just really, really well done, well put together. Fairly long too. The full release of the game is actually fairly long. It has, I think, like 5 or 6 different like sub stories to go through.
Oh wow.
So when I played the early access on Steam, it was only like 2 or 3 chapters were in, but now it's actually a full fleshed out game now. I think it's pretty well done. I mean, obviously it's not everyone's going to be a horror fan, just as not everyone's a Souls fan. So I mean, if you don't like survival horror or haunted house style games, these kind of first person walking simulator type of games with puzzle solving, this one's not going to do anything special to win you over. But if this is your type of game, I think you'll enjoy it. It's in the same vein as Layers of Fear and other games like that.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not a horror fan. Like, I don't play a lot of the horror games, so I'm glad that you liked it. All right, my next choice would be Dreams. This was a PlayStation exclusive made by Media Molecule. Media Molecule has been making this game for years. Even during the PS3 days, like, we've been hearing like rumors about this game. We've been like, this is the game that they've been working on, and Dreams is very much you can code video games. Like, you can literally just make an entire video game level in Dreams. And you could go on YouTube and look at compilations of like levels and characters. Like, the one that amazed me is that someone inside of Dreams made an Avatar: The Last Airbender game, where it's crazy the amount of like detail and everything. And it's like some people have done Dreams and made games in it that it caught the eyes of other developers. Like other develop like Ubisoft and Activision and like other big name developers. Like that's a big thing. Dreams is such a different, odd, but yet cool game. Like if you don't know how to code, or you like, or even if you're like, all right, I just want to make something, you can make anything there. Dreams is such a different, fun game. And it very much I think it lived up to kind of the vision that Media Molecule had for it, where it's just like you can make anything in it. There is even a VR mode. You can use the PSVR in it, which is really cool. But you can totally not. You don't have to use it. You can just use a normal controller and make a whole video game in it. It's great.
Yeah, I was intrigued by Dreams. I never got around to playing it. I saw some really cool stuff that people had made in it, but I guess I'm not really. I don't know. It's tough because I do like the idea of like map making and creating things. It just seemed like it was kind of like too ambitious of an idea for what it was trying to do. I felt like it just wouldn't work. But maybe it's something I have to give a try to. I just didn't give it a fair shake.
Yeah. And I will let you know, like, it is very much, you have to kind of, like, learn the system. It is, like, it's, like, to pick it up, you can still pick it up and make something good. You can still make something like, oh, that's pretty cool. But, like, the ones where, like, as I said, the Avatar The Last Airbender, like, game or level or whatever, like, this person, like, spent time with it. Like, it was, like, on IGN, they had, like, a 15-minute, like, walkthrough. Like, it's just, here's 15 minutes of this Avatar The Last Airbender game that's in Dreams. It's great. I love it. But yeah, let's move on. What's your next choice, Spectre?
I like I said, not a huge surprise here, but I also enjoyed Crash 4 quite a bit. Now I need to. Are you gonna let me talk?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So very, very good. I like I said, a game I need to get back to. I haven't played it fully just yet, but I need to get back into it eventually here. But just from what I played of it, very, very fun. It feels like it's very much in the same vein as the classic trilogy. Just really, really well done. And I gotta get to the point where I start using more of like the powers, like the different mask powers and stuff like that. Like that started kind of an interesting addition to the game too. So I gotta get back into that definitely. But from what I played of it, very, very good.
Crash 4 is a really fun game. I do agree. It's so fun, and playing it very much feels like the old school Crash games, and it's awesome. It's amazing, and the story is great too. Like honestly, I wasn't expecting like such a robust story. But if you're a completionist, God help you. God help you if you're trying to go for the platinum of that game.
And that's the thing is, I definitely am a completionist. So I will have to spend some serious time with the game eventually. I got the platinums in the other three, the Insane Trilogy Crash games. So I would definitely be looking to get the platinum in this one as well, so it just would be unavoidable for me.
It's Cad Icarus, who's a big fan of Crash Bandicoot. He very much did pretty much a 2-hour-long video talking about this game. I think he explains Crash Bandicoot 4 phenomenally, and like it's a really fun game. But if you're a completionist where you want to get the platinum or you want to get 106%, that's a Herculean task. Like, you thought Crash 1 was hard? God help you with this game. This one's hard. If you play through it and just want to play it and beat it, done. Fun game, great. But if you're going for all, like, no deaths, all the gems, all the crates, everything, prepare yourself. All right. For my next choice is going to be Final Fantasy VII Remake. This game is great. I So I never played Final Fantasy VII on the PS1. Never played it. I was too busy playing Crash and Spyro. So this is my first experience playing that story, and even then, this game isn't the entirety and the entire story of 7. This is in parts, so it's all like pretty much you're going to get all of Cloud's backstory, and then you're going to pretty much meet up to like halfway through the game, if not a little bit before then. God, this game is good. It looks beautiful. It's so much fun to play. How you can switch combat. You can play as different characters, and it's all in real time. So it's not. So it's all in real time. But the cool thing is that you can actually turn it into turn-based, where you can pause the game and you can choose. All right, I want I want Cloud to do this, and Tifa to do this, and so on and so forth. You can choose what you want all the characters to do, and then you can start the game up, and they're going to go and do the actions you told them to do. Final Fantasy VII Remake is so good. It is such a phenomenal game. Anyway, I probably were going to repeat myself and ramble, but it's so good. So good.
Yeah, no, I did play the demo. I did pick up the full game as well, too. I need to go through and actually play the game fully, but yeah, no, really pretty impressed with it. I mean, it was a long time coming. The game was talked about for years and years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely something I plan to get back into. Not normally my cup of tea. I'm not really what you would call a Final Fantasy fan, but it kind of has that Final Fantasy 15 style of combat where it's kind of like a mixed real time action with like an element of you can kind of play it sort of like in both that and kind of like a turn based. So that's interesting. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like kind of the old school turn based style as well too. But yeah, no, it was it's definitely something I plan to pick up again, getting back into.
And Final Fantasy VII, it shows what a game that has been in development for a very long time, what it can do when it's done successfully, unlike Cyberpunk.
Right? Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, not wrong.
Oh man, it's just you have pretty much two sides of the scale. Cyberpunk, that the launch failed miserably, and you have Final Fantasy VII Remake, which was phenomenal. All right, I think that was my choice. So, what is your next choice?
Yeah, no, my next choice then would be, of course, Tony Hawk, Pro Skater 1 and 2, the remake of those. Just what can you say? I mean, just extremely well done. Just really on every level, they nailed it. I mean, graphically, it's gorgeous. It looks like a game that came out this, it doesn't look like a remake of an old game. It looks like a game that just came out. Soundtrack, they nailed it too. I think there was only one, like 2 or 3 songs that they lost, compared to the older, the original releases. And that's not bad,
No.
So just lose a couple of songs. It's the multiplayer is great. The single player has always been really strong. I like I know the challenges can get a little grindy in the game, but I like the addition of the challenges because it kind of gives you something to look forward to and something to do after you finish the kind of the short skate tour campaigns. So that's really nice. The creative park even was pretty fun too. They updated that, and they let you post different parks online. I actually played quite a few pretty entertaining parks that people have made on there. It's just, I mean, really every aspect of this game, they just nailed it. In any other year, I would probably put this at like number 1 or number 2, but we have some really strong contenders for number 1.
Yeah, this came from out of nowhere. Like, Jeff Keighley announces this in the summer, kind of around E3 time, which would have been like E3, but instead, because of everything that has been happening, he just announced it. And, dude, when they announced it, I lost my mind. And then the game came out and everything. I was expecting this to be Like, all right, we're playing Tony Hawk 1 and 2, and then it kind of, like, we know that it's by Vicarious Visions. They did a phenomenal job with the Spyro and with the Crash remaster, which was awesome. So I'm like, okay, if they did good on Crash, they should do great with this, and they did and surpassed it. It's so smooth, and the tricks, and like even like you can do reverts, which wasn't in 1, it was in 2, so they added that into the game. Like, oh, I love it. Really, my only real gripe with it is the leveling. When every time you have to level, it's a long time in order for you to, if you're trying to go for the platinum for that game, it takes a long time to level, a long time. So it's just a long grind, but still a fun game. And then a personal gripe, I'll put Darby Allin from AEW into that game. I want Darby Allin, who is a legitimate skateboarder, who does hang out with Tony Hawk and Steve-O and all of them, make him a character in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, and I'll be a happy Brett. Just give me that. I will be playing Darby Allin all day. He's great. Give me that. I'll be good. All right. All right, so my next choice is going to be, this is when you and I differ. My next game is Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. I already talked about this before when Spectre said it was one of his worst games. This is one of my best games. I love this game. This game was great. The ending was phenomenal, and just I love the gameplay. The story did what it needed to tell. It told a good story of pretty much Miles Morales has to now become like his own, like Spider-Man, because like he's on his own. Peter Parker isn't going to be in New York, so he has to become like he has to be able to be Spider-Man. He'd be able to like protect the city, and it tells a really good story of that, like the becoming of age story. It's great. It's so good. Gameplay is phenomenal. Graphics look great. Playing it on the PS5 with the DualSense is awesome. When you're using the art, like when you're swinging, you can feel it and you can feel the pressure of it. Oh god. And even if you play it on the PS4, it still plays great, looks great. Oh, love Miles Morales. That game is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're a huge Spider-Man fan, and I mean, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'm glad it was a good showcase of the PS5 for you. For me, if I wasn't interested in Spider-Man, I'm not going to be interested in his boring sidekick. And I mean, and really, I mean, if you go back to that game, he was the worst part of that game by far. Just really, really dull. I don't really have much good to say about it, I mean,
well, you can just go ahead and be wrong, Spectre. But anyway, go ahead. Choose your next game.
Yeah, so my next game, of course, the fantastic, absolutely fantastic Doom Eternal.
Yes.
The Doom 2016. I don't think any of us really expected that to be as good as it was, and it kind of was like, where do you go from here? How do you top it from here? And they managed to do it. Surprisingly, it turned out really fantastic, and really in a lot of ways better than 2016. Great action. The game has never felt better to play. Great action, great soundtrack. I didn't really care for the story direction. I mentioned that in my review of it. It was kind of a confused mess of a story.
Yeah.
Multiplayer also was kind of weak. I thought it actually was a downgrade from Doom 2016, but just in terms of the campaign, the action, the stakes to it, it just even the collectibles. I like the idea of the hub area of the Doom Fortress, where you can unlock extra collectibles and kind of make it sort of like a light RPG type of thing.
Yeah.
Just really, really well done. I very much enjoy this game. I like I said, a rare sequel that's better in a lot of ways, better than in this. I mean, obviously there's a lot of Doom games out there, but I mean, in this current iteration of Doom, definitely beats out 2016. I just wish the multiplayer was stronger, and I wish they kind of figure out what they're doing with the story. I do have to go and play the DLC. I've not gotten into that just yet.
Yeah.
I will be doing that. The first part's already out. The second part's going to be out, I think, sometime next year.
Yep.
So I will be getting back into that. But just a phenomenal game. And really, at first, I thought it was going to be my game of the year, but then I will, of course, be getting to that in a second here.
No, I agree. I played Doom Eternal. I unboxed the collector's edition, and that collector's edition is gorgeous. I love the Doomslayer helmet and how it lights up, and I love it. It's great. Really well done collector's edition, but the game itself is, oh my god, it was so fun. It's so fun, and like it came out, like I believe it came out like in March or April. Like it was early in the year. Yeah, it was like in March because that came out the same day as Animal Crossing, and my god, Doom Eternal is, god, it's ridiculous fun. When you're killing demons with all the different guns, and you have to use pretty much your entire arsenal instead of like, this gun's my favorite. Like, no, you have to use everything. And there's strategy to it, because like you can't just like shoot everything because you won't have ammo, and there's not ammo running around. You actually have to, like, in order to get ammo, you have to rip apart a demon or whatever. Like there's a lot of like strategy to it. Also, it's not just like, killing demons. There's strategy to it too. Yeah, I agree. The multiplayer was just kind of okay. It was still fun. Not saying it's bad, but it wasn't. Could have been better. Could have been more than what it was. Let me say that. Not say like better. It could have been more than what it is. But no, Doom Eternal. Honestly, Doom Eternal was going to be my choice, and that was my choice for a long time for Game of the Year. Like that. Like I thought I was going to be like, oh, Doom Eternal is going to. This is it. And then I was going to see how Last of Us Part 2 was, and Cyberpunk, and Final Fantasy, and like all these different games. But like Doom Eternal is so good. Doom Eternal is so good. Yeah.
What's your next pick?
This is my final pick. My final pick, again, this is very much my final pick. My favorite game is Last of Us Part 2. I love that game. I think that game is great. As I've said before, this is very much where me and Spectre disagree. But I thought this game was amazing. The story that was told was great. I just think the pacing was off. I think they kind of the story that they told overall was phenomenal, but they placed pieces of the story in the wrong place, hence kind of making it feel kind of rough. I understood where Neil Druckmann was going with it, but like it took me a while to really like kind of wrap my head around the narrative of that game. But gameplay is phenomenal, just as it was in Last of Us Part 1. Graphically, it's the most gorgeous game on the console, on the PS4. It's beautiful graphically, and like I still care about these characters. I very much care about for Joel and Ellie and everyone else. Like, and there's a bunch of other political agenda stuff that I personally don't agree with, but I can see where people are coming from. I disagree with it though, and again, me and Spectre have talked about this on multiple episodes of Dualshock'd and in other videos and other things. But as I've said before, and I'll say it again, Last of Us Part 2 isn't a perfect game, but it is not a bad game. It is still very much a phenomenal game. I love Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, and I will say that I think your reasons for enjoying it, I think, are legitimate. I think you're not just liking this to be fashionable. I think the game because you played it and you enjoy the characters, you enjoy the story, you like the way it looks. I think that's why you like the game, and I can respect that. I don't like people just giving this game 9s and 10s out of 10s. Just on the basis of how they presented the game with, this is a lesbian main character and a strong women kind of driven game, diversity and blah 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 blah. It's just like that's if that's the only reason someone has to to like a game, and then they kind of work backwards from there to justify why they like it, then I think that's kind of sad. That's not really. That's turning games into a piece of propaganda. That's not they're not a form of entertainment or art anymore. They're just a political tool then.
And look, if it felt more of that, like, kind of like propaganda that you've been talking about, I would agree with you there. But like Ellie being gay and all, and the look of Abby, I very much disagree with all of the comments that have been saying, including you and I have argued about it multiple times. Like, it was like the whole the political stuff that some people have said. It's so benign. It's so small to the story, the complete story that's being told. And maybe like the look of Abby, maybe they messed up on the design. I'm fine with it. I'm okay with the way Abby looks. Abby looks fine, and it all makes sense on why she's like built like a brick S-word house. But like I've seen women wrestlers who are just as fit as Abby was. Like, again, I'm not going to jump.
Unless you want to get into a really long discussion.
No. But anyway, I'll leave it there. But again, we've discussed it. If you want to hear more, we've talked about it. You can go ahead and watch our spoiler cast. We talk about all of, so go ahead. We've talked about it in other videos.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, I respect your reasons for enjoying it. I think for a lot of people though, it's they saw it, this is the same thing that happened with Gone Home and so many other political focused games. I mean, it's become practically a genre unto itself, and I just have nothing but disdain for that. I mean, at first, for the original Last of Us game, it was I didn't like it for just because I thought it was a dull game. I just didn't care for it. But yeah, no, it's just this is totally different. This is kind of takes it to a different level.
Yeah, no, I get you there. So, but again, you and I disagree. But let's move on. I think that was my final pick. What is your final pick?
My final pick is the choice. We'll call it the gamer's choice because it won the the actual poll and everything for the Game Awards, and that is Ghost of Tsushima. What more can I say about it that I haven't already said? Just a fantastic game. It somehow gets even better the more I play it. It's the total package. I really don't have much to complain about for the game. I guess the worst thing you could say about it is, in some ways it's not extremely original. It doesn't really do a lot of things that are really breaking the mold, but that's kind of okay too, because the things it does, that it's sort of a pastiche of other games, and it does that really, really well. It takes elements from other games like Far Cry, for example, and light RPG elements, and it just does it really, really well. And yeah, I can't think of anything to complain about. The soundtrack is beautiful. Graphically, I would argue this is the best looking game on the PlayStation 4 / PlayStation 5. It looks amazing. The combat is fun, addictive, and even after going through the main story and the playing the multiplayer a lot, I still enjoy the combat. There's still a lot of weight and meat to the combat that I enjoy. The story, it starts off pretty slow, but I think at the end it builds to a really nice payoff. I really enjoyed the ending to the game. Mm-hmm. The side stories have a lot to offer as well too. Those are the side tales in the game. Those are worth experiencing too. It's just like I said, it's just a total package. And then on top of that, they one up themselves by releasing a free multiplayer update. I mean, I thought the game was great. as it was as a single player game, and then boom, like it's like, oh hey, guess what? Here's a free multiplayer horde mode, and guess what? That's a lot of fun too, and it actually has a lot of surprising amount of depth to it for a free little content update.
And mind you, they could have ruined themselves on the multiplayer. They could have. This could have been a tacked on. Who cares multiplayer?
Yeah, it could have easily been like a microtransaction filled, tacked on type of thing. But it's totally free. 100% it's free. It's at least as of right now, it's a very active multiplayer. I never have trouble getting into games. I want to do the raid content at the end. There's kind of like a end game raid to do. Sadly, after they did confirm already that there won't really be any more content added to the game. At this point, it's kind of done, but that's okay. A game not every game needs to be a game, a service game where it goes on forever.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nice just to be done with a game, and I can't wait to see. I can guarantee that there's going to be some kind of follow up to this game or some kind of sequel.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait to see that.
Oh
this is
yeah. And then
that would probably push me. That would push me. If God of War wasn't coming out already, that would push me to buy a PS5. Would be a sequel to this.
Oh yeah, and again, Ghost of Tsushima, what a phenomenal game! It's I signed up for it to be to use the same video game tropes that I very much enjoy. Oh no, they didn't do anything creative, but it's amazing at what we already do or what we have already played. It's phenomenal. It looks amazing. The art style is amazing. The soundtrack is great. Jin is a fantastic character, especially with how it ends. Everything about this game is the combat with the appreciation to the age of the samurai. Like Sucker Punch very much took finite, amazing detail to very much be true to that era. And then the multiplayer, it's so Legends is so good, and there's builds and there's play styles, including classes. Each class has different stuff. Oh my god, we've talked about this in our Ghost of Tsushima spoiler cast from our review. And both you and I reviewed Ghost of Tsushima, which god, that game is so good. I love that game. That game is amazing. Yeah, I believe that's all 10 of them now.
I think so.
Alrighty. So, one more thing before we go ahead and finish up. So, we have yet to go ahead and announce our Game of the Year of 2020. We have done it for the past 2 years now, for 2018 and 2019, but now we have to do it for 2020. I have a little thing to go ahead and show you on our nominees for the Brotherhood of Geeks Game of the Year 2020. Hello, I'm Brett J. Rasmussen from the Brotherhood of Geeks. Now, I am here to announce the Brotherhood of Geeks Game of the Year 2020 nominees. We have chosen to change things up a little bit this year. So this is what we have done. Members of the Brotherhood of Geeks, so myself, Spectre, and Guru Blaze, along with some other members who work behind the scenes on the Brotherhood of Geeks, each of us have chosen our top 5 games of the year, and they're all weighed respectively from number 1 to number 5. Pretty much, for example, if a game is their number 1 choice, it gets 5 points, 2 gets 4, 3 gets 3, 4 gets 2 points, and 5 gets 1 point. And each of us have chosen our top 5 games. And it's all listed in a bunch of numbers and everything like that. And then what we have done in order to counterbalance that, we have used the Game Awards 2020 and the results from that show to kind of be a counterbalance to us. So, pretty much what we have done is that any of the games that any of the members of the Brotherhood of Geeks has been in their top 5, we look at the nominees and the winners from the Game Awards, and pretty much the way it works, if any of the games that we have listed is nominated in the Game Awards, it gets a point. And then if it wins in the Game Awards, it gets another point. So, The Last of Us Part 2, for example, was nominated multiple times and has won multiple times. So that game has gotten 2 points, and for every time it's been nominated and every time it has won, it gets a point for nomination and a point for winning. So, with all of the numbers calculated and everything like that, these are the 6 nominees for the Brotherhood of Geeks Game of the Year 2020. Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Tonight marks a new beginning for Shinra.
This could well be her last line of defense. Let's go.
Let us defy destiny together. Cloud, there's still so much to be done.
Doom Eternal.
We must move quickly. There are those who would seek to stop this.
You are nothing but a usurper. A false idol.
The only thing they fear is you.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. Ghost of Tsushima. Fall Guys. The Last of Us Part 2.
You can't stop this.
I want what you want. But not at any cost. I really hope you make it.
I have to finish it.
There's a cost.
We could have killed you. Maybe you should have.
So yes, those are the nominees for the Brotherhood of Geeks Game of the Year 2020. And what we will be doing next is that from those nominees, we will go ahead and vote on what is our favorite game from those nominees. And we would love to hear from you what you think your choice is, and we would love to hear what you think. So yeah, be ready for the next Game of the Year. We will be announcing our Game of the Year on the next episode of Dualshock'd. So look forward to that. All right. And there you have it. So your nominees for Game of the Year is going to be Fall Guys, Doom Eternal, Last of Us Part 2, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, and Ghost of Tsushima. And I believe there's also Final Fantasy VII Remake, if I have not said that yet. So yeah, this is those are all really good choices, and it very much fits to kind of everything. So yeah, and then the next episode of Dualshock'd, we're gonna go ahead and announce our Game of the Year. So yeah. What do you think about that, Spectre?
I think that's fantastic.
Alrighty then. Well, I think that is everything. So guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/Brotherhood of Geeks. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell us what you think. Tell us if you agree or disagree with our top 10 worst or best games that have come out this year in 2020. It's been a very crazy year. We've got some very good games, but also some really crappy games. And then, if you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/The Brotherhood of Geeks. You can also follow us on Twitter at Dualshock'd BOG. That's the name of this PlayStation podcast, Dualshock'd BOG. And then you can also follow us on Twitch when we stream at twitch.tv/Brotherhood of Geeks. I believe that's everything. Oh, boy. That was really good. We got a lot of that handled.
Yeah, no, that went really well. Like I said, I mean, for the picks I made, like I said, it was kind of tough to come up with a worst of list because it was really, honestly, a legitimately great year for gaming.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good stuff came out. It was pretty easy to come up with a top 5 list this year.
Yeah, I agree.
Normally, I kind of struggle with that. So I kind of threw in some honorable mentions to sort of fill my list. Just the games that not so much I hated as I played them, or like they're just games that I think kind of deserve. We'll call them honorary bad games in a way. So, but yeah, no, just a really, really strong year.
No, I completely.
At least for gaming, that is. It's a strong year for gaming, not for much else. But that's where we're going to talk. And obviously, there's other games I wish we could include as well on the list. But
no, there have been
focusing specifically on PlayStation. So.
Oh yeah, and there have been some great games. Like again, like Animal Crossing: New Horizons is a great game. Hades I played was a great game. Like again, the nominees that we got for Game of the Year were very much warranted. All of them were. So, yeah, no, this has been a very good year for video games. I'm very, very happy about that. So I guess we'll have to go ahead and see how 2021 looks like with the PS5 and the Series X now out in the wild. Hopefully we can now get them and not have scalpers have like 35,000 of them. But that's a whole nother story for another time. Alrighty then. Do you have anything else to say, Spectre?
No, that's about it.
Alrighty then. Well then, happy Christmas, everyone. I'm very glad that you watched this. If you have watched this on Christmas or after Christmas, it's totally fine. But happy Christmas to everyone out there.
Merry Christmas.
There you go. Alrighty. Well then, I'm Brett J. Rasmussen.
I'm Spectre.
And as always, live to play, play together. We'll see you guys next time.